It's Dr. Rucker. I'm going to do a little presentation for you. This presentation is on PEMFs. This is a book, Power Tools for Health. I'm going to explain how pulsed magnetic fields help you. This is probably the number one question I get when we use our magnet. Can you explain how this works? Well, I know how it works, I see how it works, but to explain it to my patients has been difficult. So I'm going to use this video as a primer. I'm going to quote some aspects from this book because Dr. Pollack has devoted his life to explaining this, so I'm just going to expose and share some of his ideas. This is the table of contents of this book. We're going to look at magnetics and evolution, what he has to say. So look at all this physics in this book. That's why it's difficult at times to explain these things to patients. Frequency, modulation, waveform, intensity. I'm just going to go through a few of them. Next part of it is different aspects that are covered in this book. Antibacterial activity, anticoagulation effects, autophagy, ATP in mitochondria, the heart, immunology, nerves, red cells, skin, addiction. Amazing how many different aspects of therapy are covered. Adhesions, alkaline balance, anxiety, PTSD, arthritis, incontinence, cancer, something we cover a lot in my practice. Stage 4 cancers, different body types, body parts. Dental issues, depression, diabetes, erectile issues, cataracts. You can read on, you can pause the video at any time. Multiple sclerosis, pain management. Many things are covered. Fibromyalgia was on there, shingles, fungal infections. Look at all these different things that are in this book that the magnets help. I'm going to read a paragraph here that maybe will help. It says, PMF devices treat the body on all levels. A PMF system does not care what you perceive to be wrong with your body and will provide stimulation to you whether you have a broken bone, failing heart, or struggle with anxiety. Magnetic stimulation treats at all levels: spiritual, physics processes, chemistry, and tissue. It treats with no regard to whether the disease state is energetic, physiologic, pathophysiologic, or pathologic. Magnetic therapy philosophy is holistic philosophy. So that's an example of something I struggle to teach the patients. It was worded so eloquently. Okay, I'm moving on to the basics. Humans and all living matter have evolved on a planet that is a giant magnet of its own. There are many different types of magnetic fields, including the Earth's static magnetic field, Schumann resonance, geomagnetic storms, etc. Each of these contributes in its own important way to the overall magnetic environment in which humans have evolved and thrived. Anyone who wants to delve more deeply into this, I think you can read this book. We have copies in our office, or you can get it on Kindle. This is my Kindle version on my computer. But to understand how the body interacts with and responds to magnetic fields, we must appreciate how much our bodies themselves are electromagnetic. This brings us to the final example of magnetic fields that are present on Earth, the body's own internal magnetic fields. So, pulse electric magnetic field therapy manipulates these magnetic fields. Here he says unshielded electric fields can be designed to contact the body and used therapeutically that way, as with electrostimulation from a TENS unit. So keep in mind, the TENS unit is vastly different than the power of this style magnet that I'm talking about. So here's a great scientific point. When people ask me, oh, it seems like it's just a TENS unit. In many ways, PMF therapy is not so different from electrical stimulation. The primary difference is that PMF therapy induces current in tissue, whereas electrical stimulation applies current to tissue. Because PMF therapy uses magnetic fields as the delivery mechanism, it can generate charges much deeper in the body and therefore much safer and more tolerable. We can change the amount of current that is being induced by changing the power of the magnetic inflow. This is a great reminder of the power of magnets. Our magnets are 2.5 Tesla. You can see Tesla in terms of Gauss. Some magnets that people call magnets are micro Tesla. And inverse square rule is a basic law of physics that refers to the intensity being inversely proportional to the square of distance from the source. So if something's 6 centimeters from the applicator, when you have a micro Tesla magnetic field, it's dropped with a 6 centimeter distance, it's dropped to 2 microtesla, 20 Gauss. This is a 98% drop in the intensity of the magnetic field just due to a 6 centimeter distance application. So that's why power and distance are of the essence. This is why certain weak magnets, static magnets, etc., don't have the power to get to tissue like what we do clinically. So another great example of power on this slide, you can see the power drops with distance. The deeper into the body a magnetic field has to go, the greater the reduction in the initial magnetic field intensity. This is purely a matter of the electromagnetic field. It does not mean that the field is being consumed or used up by the body. It simply means there's progressively less energy from the pemf signal available to generate charge as it moves deeper through the body. So once again, this is why power is of the essence to treat complicated disease states. And that's what we see in my office, complicated disease states. I think I'm going to conclude with this slide, which shows you what is going on in this pulsed magnetic field. You get the EMF source at target tissue fields, transient molecular effects to transient cellular effects, which result in altered structure and function. So the PMF is applied to the body, creating induction of charge to the target tissue. This results in healing, increased blood flow, better signaling, and this is an introduction slide talk on magnets. So people who ask me, how's this working? Why is this working? This is very complicated science. You might have to read through it yourself, but this is an introduction for you. Thanks for watching.